grew up in Northeast Ohio and he's from East Liverpool. Tell us a little bit about your background, things like that.
Well, Mike, I was born in East Liverpool, so I've got tons of family there. Grandmother lives there, aunts, uncles, cousins. So to say that we'll have more fans just because of that would be an understatement. I think you'll see that. They're very, very excited. East Liverpool's always been a big part of who I am. Then obviously moved to Cleveland, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, and spent my whole childhood there. You know, I've been in the state of West Virginia the last 10 years. So those people down there have been special to me. But, you know, when this job came open, it reminds me so much of Fairmont. It's a perfect match for a guy from Northeast Ohio. So I'm really, really excited.
Coach, you talk about growing up in Cleveland, played basketball at Bill Angel St. Joe's. You know, Northeast Ohio basketball has, you know, got a reputation for gritty, tough. What have you taken from playing in Northeast Ohio into your coaching philosophy?
Oh, I think the biggest thing about Coach Calhoun is nothing's been given to me. You know, I walked on at Cleveland State for a Hall of Fame coach. I could have went the Division II route and probably had a great career, but I wanted to get into coaching. I wanted to surround myself with good people that could help me down the future. So everything really worked out. You know, it's just been a miracle run, a great ride, and I've been impacted by so many great coaches, so many great people, and really so many great players. You know, if you look at what we were able to accomplish at Fairmont, a lot of my guys were from Cleveland, you know, where I'm from. So, you know, we've got to surround this area. We've got to recruit inside out. We've got to build that wall and build that excitement. And I think kids will rally the way we're going to play, the crowds we're going to bring, the excitement we're going to bring here to Youngstown. I think it's a great time to be a Penguin.
Coach, you talked a little bit about your previous coaches you've been under, specifically Bob Huggins. What have you learned from him? How influential has he been on your coaching career?
Well, if you look at the way we play defense, it's everything. You know, the biggest thing that I learned from Hugs is nothing's given. You know, there's no days off. You can't take days off, just like the real world. So you try to instill that in your players. I think another lesson has been the fundraising. You know, I saw a man in Coach Huggins, he raised $30 million in the state of West Virginia. I was on a lot of those trips with him, a lot of flights, a lot of long drives through the night. He was just relentless. You know, he's a relentless recruiter, and that's the type of effort you have to have when you're passionate about what you do.
Have you ever been down to their family camp, Eastern Ohio, in Schiraldi, Ohio?
Many a times.
Yeah.
You know, Hugs is really like a big brother to me. So I've been to the camp. I've cast out a lot. We've done a lot of fishing out there on that ground. But you know, the way he got started is a lot like me. He had to earn his stripes. You know, I started off as a walk-on. You know, really started off as a manager. You know, I sat out the first year at Cleveland State and then became a member of the team and went the Division II route. You know, as a young 22-year-old assistant at Walsh University, Jeff Young gave me the biggest break of my life, and that was through Dan Peters and Bob Huggins. So you don't ever forget those people. You know, those people are in your corner. They're going to root for you. You're going to call them for advice. You know, there's going to be a lot of phone calls, and you know, hopefully one day we'll go down to Morgantown and play those guys, and it would be great.
Last year at Fairmont State, a special year going to the Division II National Championship game. What do you guys learn from that about your team, how to form a team, and you individually?
You know, that's a great question. You know, I met with the kids today. You know, it's an awkward moment right now. Here's a coach coming in that didn't recruit those guys. You know, so I've got to show those guys. I've got to earn the trust of them. They've got to understand our language. They've got to understand our style. But what I learned by taking a team to the national championship game was a togetherness. More than basketball, we have a brotherhood at Fairmont. Those kids will always be special to me. And it worked out really well. You know, they hired Joe Mazzulla today. Exactly what I thought they would do. It was the right thing to do. So they're in good hands. You know, the torch has been passed. I sent him a text message. My office was cleaned out, the regional championship trophy, and I said, it's your time. You know, take advantage of that. And, you know, with Ron giving me this chance, this is a chance of a lifetime. So I've got to go full go. I've got to work really, really hard, really, really fast, because we've got to recruit some guys. You know, we've got good players coming back, but we've got to add to the depth with the way we're going to play.
Before we get into recruiting, I know at Fairmont you did a lot for the program, new gym, new locker room, new film room. How do you think you get money into a program and create funds that you can use to better facilities and your program as a whole.
Told our guys today, if we expect a first-class effort from them, I've got to give them a first-class effort. And what Ron has done, taking this step by hiring me, you know, I think we're heading in the right direction. It's going to be a great friendship, not only with just Ron and myself, but President Tressel and the team that they have here in place. I've got to meet people. I've got to earn people's trust. I got to get out in the community. I got to be active. I got to be visible. But they've got to rally around the kids. The reason you get into college athletics is for the kids. You know, it's not about Coach Calhoun. This is not a one-man show by any means. This takes a group effort to make this thing work.
We get into recruiting now. What do you think separates yourself from other coaches, other recruiters that'll make kids want to come to Youngstown State?
Well, number one, we're never going to lie to a kid. We're going to be very, very honest and upfront. I think most kids want to be pushed, so we're going to push them. I think we're going to build the relationship. You know, relationships are built on trust, so we're going to have countless hours, whether it's on the phone or in person. Then we're going to sell Youngstown. We're going to sell this city. We're going to sell our campus. We're going to sell our product here. We're going to sell our league, you know, the Horizon League. Got a lot of attention this year. It was a great conference tournament, a lot of upsets. I watched that tournament because, you know, I played in the league. So I'm not a stranger to this league. There's great coaches all across the board, and it's going to be a challenge. But our kids have to have that mindset that they can go out and compete every night and play together.
You know, when we talk about recruiting, you know, there's obviously certain areas in this country that are, you know, hotbeds for a lot of talent. What areas do you see, you know, in your past and in, you know, here at Youngstown State that you really want to hit and make an impact in?
Well, I'll tell you, we've always been really good in Northeast Ohio. I don't think that's a secret, but, you know, I think there's parts of Virginia. I think there's parts of North Carolina. I really think D.C. is an untapped market for players at this level. You know, there's players everywhere. You've got to work. You've got to connect. You've got to make the phone calls. You have to make the evaluations. And I'm excited about that opportunity.
We talk about your defensive philosophy. We know a lot about that up-tempo pressing, things like that. You know, there was, you know, Sports Illustrated Kids asked Frank Martin this past weekend at the NCAA tournament about whether defensive is ability or, you know, believing in the philosophy. Where do you stand on that? You know, is it more guys, you know, that are good at defense, or is it more about seeing the vision, believing in the vision that you're preaching?
You know, I thought that was a great question. I thought that young man that asked that, that was a tremendous question to Frank, and I know Frank through Coach Huggins, and I know what he stands for. And, you know, it is a mindset. It is a toughness. But, you know, a lot of this is technique. You know, everybody's capable of playing defense. You have to have that mindset. And you got to understand what you're trying to accomplish on that end. So I think with our style, it'll be different. I don't think anybody in the Horizon League is going to press for 40 minutes. I don't think another team in the league is going to play as fast on offense. So you hope we're able to assemble a roster that can get after and do those things.
Talk about your relationship with Athletic Director Ron Schiraldi. What were your first impressions when he reached out to you? You know, what was going through your head when that first initial, you know, contact between you and him was established?
You know, I think that's a great question. I just think when you talk to Ron, he's genuine. He's Youngstown. He's everything that you want in a boss. I think he's going to tell you the truth, but I think he's going to be fair. You know, I think he's in it for the right reasons. I don't think he has an ego. I think he's in it to help the student athletes. So there's a lot of great things that Ron, that I look up to, you know, that I'm willing to, you know, being a young coach, have him and President Tressel mentor me on some of those things, because you have to be a person that's willing to grow, you know, a constant learner. And I think those two guys have those capabilities to really help me.
Who are those people in your social circle that you reached out to help you, you know, make this decision?
Well, obviously Jeff Young was big, and I worked for him. Bob Huggins obviously was really, really big. My high school coach, you know, Ted Kwasniak, he's like a second dad to me. You know, I used to live in his basement my junior year of high school, so he and I are very, very close. And really who I relied on is my wife. You know, you're only as strong as the people that are in your corner on a day in and day out basis. So I said, you know what, Sarah, if we're going to do this, we've got to be fully invested, and she is, and she's excited. And you know what our players will realize is we have those guys over all the time. You know, the first thing I ask Ron is how many times a week am I allowed to have them over? Because I need to know the rules, because I want to spend a lot of time with these guys. I want to eat a lot of meals. We're going to go to movies together. We're going to do a lot of nice things that builds that chemistry.
You know, finally, where do you want to see this program reach, whether it's next year, you know, or, you know, in 5 years like you were at Fairmont? Where do you want to see Youngstown State under your head coaching?
Well, you want to play in the NCAA tournament. You want to compete for championships. You want to be able to walk into a gym and get that instant recognition that the Penguins are back. The Penguins are for real. And our kids can do it. You know, this group is the foundation. As I told Cam and I told Francisco, we're not ruining their senior year. We're not wasting that year. I owe it to you guys to coach you up. I owe it to you guys to get you better. You guys are going to be the catalyst. We're going to do it together. We're going to win right away. You know, I don't think you cap things. I don't think you put limitations on things. I think you just work your tail off every day with a group of guys, and you see what happens.
A couple of rapid fire questions here for you, Coach. Other than basketball, all right, first one here, favorite food?
Oh man, I tell you, I've gained 30 pounds this year, I think. So I like to eat a lot. I need to go on a diet, but probably pizza.
Pizza. Youngstown's a very good pizza place. Any Youngstown, you know, pizza places you've had? Or
I haven't had any yet. I'm excited about that.
I would suggest Wedgwood.
Wedgwood?
Wedgwood's a very good one, and it's in Austin town. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably to jump. You know, I always, as a player, I wanted to jump, so probably jump.
What's one ritual you do before every game that you coach?
Drink a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. Favorite basketball gym, arena you've ever coached in, played in, been in, anything like that?
Hinkle Fieldhouse, which we'll go there this year. That's historic. And then the Pentagon out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. What
other sports teams do you follow? Any other favorite teams?
I don't know if I should say this on air, but I'm a season ticket holder for the Cleveland Browns. I got some grief from some guys today in the department.
I'm a Browns fan, so we can.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, we're in there together.
And the Penguins, any sports team for the Penguins, I'll be there.
Last question. Not sure if you ever had them, but are you a Chipotle guy or a Hot Heads guy?
Chipotle.
Beautiful answer. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.